If you want to defeat ALS, you need everyone working together.
They took this extraordinary challenge and said, we're going to go out and make things happen.
If we're able to untangle ALS, we might be able to help others.
I am in awe of Brian Wallach. He wants to give back and take care of the next person that gets diagnosed.
I've never experienced a movement like this. It's changing history in front of our eyes.
Brian's ALS has accelerated a lot. We feel like we're running out of time.
Hey, Brian, we're gonna do this. There's always been a way.
This could actually work.
I don't think there's any test of the human spirit more telling than someone saying you don't have a long time to live and responding in this way.
That is a look at the powerful new documentary For Love and Life, No Ordinary Campaign. The film follows Brian Wallach, who was diagnosed with ALS in 2017, and his wife, Sandra Abravaya, two former Obama administration officials who have used their expertise, their knowledge of Washington to secure funding for ALS research to prove to other families living with the disease there is hope. And Sandra joins us now. She's the co-founder of I Am ALS. Also with us, the director and producer of For Love and Life, No Ordinary Campaign, Christopher Burke. Sandra, Chris, great to see you both.
Great to see you. Thank you for having us.
Can we start with a little background with these two right here? I gather you know each other.
I mean, just a little bit.
I'm like really trying not to cry right now, honestly.
I know.
Because I've known you so long.
So long.
And I'm just like so proud to know you and Brian. And what you've done is just remarkable. I mean, you've really brought this to light for people who weren't tracking what this disease was, who didn't know that they had a voice or had power to have a voice. Yeah. And I before I get more emotional, you both had done so much before Brian was diagnosed as public servants, contributing to electing Barack Obama. But this is your greatest legacy, which is remarkable. And I just wanted to ask you, for people watching out there who think maybe they have ALS, maybe they have another disease, maybe they feel their voice isn't heard and they can't make a difference. What would you tell them about what they should do? Because so many people feel powerless, and you've showed that you are empowered and you can be powerful.
Absolutely. And I think with these neurodegenerative diseases, whether it's ALS or Parkinson's or MS, these diseases affect the way you speak, the way you move. And so these are really difficult diseases to live a public life with, right? Because it's evident oftentimes that you have an illness. And so people, they turn inward, and that's the instinct. And that's what Brian and I are trying to encourage people to fight against, because when they do come forward, their voices are so powerful. And having been in government and advocacy for so long prior to our diagnosis, I mean, Jen, our whole job for so many years was to elevate people who are affected by policy. And so when that happened to us, we knew that even if we were just one voice, even if you are just one voice, being public, if you have one of these illnesses, can have a huge impact.
I want you to know that everyone who's seen the film or who's ever around you and Brian for 5 minutes feels exactly the way Jen is feeling right now. I put myself in that camp as well. This journey for you and Brian, he was diagnosed, as I said, 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago now. And just, I guess the word is relentless. As you say, we've talked about this at length. I have Parkinson's in my family as well. I put you guys in the category with Michael J. Fox in terms of elevating something that people didn't know a lot about and raising all this money and completely changing the game. Why have you stayed in it so relentlessly for so long?
Well, first of all, we think of Michael J. Fox as our role model, and he really paved the way for what it looked like to be public with a neurodegenerative disease. Why are we relentless? Brian says this all the time, which is he is now 7 years in. He is mostly paralyzed. He can barely speak. And yet he is, and I am, more hopeful than we ever have been before, because the pace of treatments for these diseases has accelerated in these last 5 years more than it did in the 50 years prior. So we feel that there is an authentic reason to be hopeful that these diseases can transform from fatal to chronic.
So, Chris, your first job as a director of this film was just keeping up with these two. Yeah, which is not, honestly, is not an easy thing to do because they go.
It is not easy.
But how did you come to this story, and how did you want to put together such a beautiful telling of what they're up to?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Jen said at the beginning, you're proud to know them, right? And I had known Brian for 20 years. We went to college together, and I met Sandra actually on what effectively was the first day of filming for this project. I came out to Chicago shortly after Brian's diagnosis to help film an intro spot for their nonprofit, I Am ALS. And when I was there, I realized that there was a whole lot more going on than could possibly be encapsulated in a 60-second web promo, right? So we kept the cameras rolling. I heard more of the backstory in person. I met Sandra. I heard from her. I tagged along to some medical appointments and some lobbying meetings. And I was like, oh, this is like a complex web happening here. And then when I went to D.C. In April of 2019 for Brian's first testimony in front of the House, that's what really sealed the deal for me. It was like, okay, I'm in this for the long haul, whatever it takes. And like you said, it's a matter of keeping up with them. And it's been really well worth it, especially moments like this where we get to share it with a broad audience.
You mentioned that impactful congressional testimony. Let's look at a scene where Brian and Sandra are getting ready to testify before Congress.
Science is moving quickly. Is the FDA? Yeah. Be more flexible, and you're being less flexible. All right, let's write a whole new testimony. That's none of that is in our current testimony, Brian. Was that you doing the Running Man? I can't even. You have stuck in your teeth, and you're doing an ALS Running Man. Just for the record, it's at 10 p.m. the night before the hearing. Oh, yeah, it's 11. My clock is wrong. It's worse.
So there it is, relentless and optimistic. That was about 2.5 years ago, that scene. Talk to us about how you feel like you have started to break through. Major League Baseball this weekend, it was ALS weekend. Lou Gehrig, of course, perhaps the most famous person to suffer from ALS. I know tonight you're going to be honored at Yankee Stadium. Tell us where you think the fight is now. More people know?
More people know, more people are acting. I think that that's central, right? If you tell a story of hopelessness, then people give up and they don't engage. We are, one, authentically hopeful, and two, this movement has been mobilized. This movement across FTD, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ALS. People are coming together, they're speaking up, and they're taking action. The Major League Baseball community has been a big part of that. Tonight at Yankee Stadium is going to be amazing. And this film getting selected for Amazon Prime with over 200 million viewers on their platform. It's incredible.
So, Chris, what do you hope people take away from this film, other than being so incredibly moved and impressed by Brian and Sandra? What do you hope is the takeaway for somebody who watches?
I think it's really just that you can and should turn hope into action, whatever that is in your life, right? Hope alone is not a strategy, but if you see the way that they and their ever-growing community have taken that hope, that kernel of hope, fostered it amongst each other, and put it into work on the legislative, on the research side, on the community building side, it is truly inspirational, and I don't use that word lightly. It really is for anyone who's going through anything, be it one of these neurodegenerative diseases or any struggle that you're going through. The way that they have organized and taken these principles from their years on the campaign trail and in the White House and applied it to something that people can understand and make a real difference is something that I'm proud to have been able to capture in this way.
They have made a real difference. You guys have changed the game, and so many of us are so happy to be along for the ride, even in any small way. We love you. We love Brian.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work. The new documentary For Love and Life, No Ordinary Campaign, is streaming now on Prime Video, and you can learn more about how to get involved in the fight against ALS at IamALS.org. I Am ALS co-founder Sandra Apravaya and the film's director and producer Chris Burke. Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
So much.